John Schmeelk, Paul Dottino, and now we're joined by a good friend of the program. That's Charles Davis. You can see him on NFL Network. You can see him on Fox. You can – where else can we see it, Charles?
Right here.
Sirius
Right.
XM NFL
Sirius
Radio.
XM
and
Radio.
Right
You know, if you're doing that Madden video game, you can hit the mute button on your game so you don't have to hear my voice anymore. So.
Oh, my.
I bet you the younger kids probably know you more from Madden than anything else, don't they?
You know what I've discovered? It's not just the younger ones. That's what I've discovered. But I will tell you, I've got a 22-year-old son, and this is my 5th year of doing Madden, so he was still in high school. And when I got the Madden gig, it was the first time I got street cred from my son. First time. I've done other things. I've called NFL games. I called 3 national championship games in college football when it was the BCS. You know, I was doing all that stuff. The first time I got street cred was when I told him I was doing Madden. So that ought to tell you all you need to know.
Well, let's get right to it. Giants selecting 4th overall, Charles.
Yes.
The conventional thinking, and tell me if you disagree with it, is that Joe Burrow 1, Chase
Yep.
Young 2.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
So
And Coach Gettleman's going to keep the phone available, right? Because at 4,
and
he could get a lot of calls.
And Dave Gettleman did say open for business when he did his
Yes.
media availability today.
I
But
love it.
let's talk about the players first. How deep is that next set of players in terms of a tier that you have after those top 2?
I think it's really deep because, look, 3 with Detroit, if they decide to keep it, they can go in multiple directions, okay? Conventional wisdom is telling us that corner comes into play, right? Akuda from Ohio
They
State.
love playing man-to-man.
Right, like to play man-to-man. They may keep Darius Slay for another year to pair with him.
Mm-hmm.
They may not, so he may have to be a CB1 right out of the gate. They want to get Justin Coleman out of playing on the outside. They want to get him back to his natural nickel. So that makes sense there. But you're also looking at, okay, offensive line is going to be really deep and stout. You've got a number of opportunities to go in that direction. Do you want a Jedrick Willis, out of Alabama? Is an Andrew Thomas that high for you coming out of Georgia? How do you feel about Tristan Wirfs from Iowa, who I think translates better inside at guard, like Brandon Sheriff did when he came out of Iowa. I just think all the way through it is loaded. What receiver do you want? You want C.D. Lamb? You want Jerry Jeudy? We can just go right on down the line. This Brandon Ayuk, who
He's a fast kid, man.
is coming out of Arizona State. I have a better grade on him than I had on N'Keal Harry coming out last year. So let's face it. There's a lot of players there. By the way, Jeff Okuda's running mate at corner. Damon Arnett could be a first-round kid, not as high as 3 and 4, but he could play into something down there. He was very good, knowing that he was the number 2 corner and played with a cast on his hand. We could go on all day. There are players all the way through this thing.
Charles, it's funny because Dave Gettleman has basically spoke to 2 sides of the coin. He says you can't have a quarterback throwing from his back. So we know
it usually doesn't work very well.
It doesn't. He's told us he studied this too.
Yep.
So you got to have a stout offensive line to get your franchise quarterback to be able to do what he needs to do. But then Dave also says defense builds championships.
That's right.
So he's really in a situation at 4 where it appears there is going to be franchise top players on both sides of the coin. Isn't that what probably would make him want to stay at 4 instead of trading out?
Yeah, if he feels as strongly about a player at 4 as he did about Daniel Jones last year at 6, then expect Coach Gettleman to stick. I mean, I'm going to take what I believe is my sure thing, although we know there is no such thing as that. But that's what I have the conviction on. That's where I will go. But at the same time, that phone's going to ring. And there are going to be people who are going to be interested and involved. And let's say Detroit sticks at 3. Which
is what the Giants should want,
right?
By the way.
Yes. You're praying they stick at 3, and they say, look, we're not open for business for that one. We have to win now because I believe our owner said if we're not playing meaningful football next year, all of us will be applying for jobs in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So now you're sitting there at 4. All of a sudden, they become what the Titans were years ago when John Robinson said, hey, King's ransom could get me off this number 1 pick. And the Rams gave him the King's ransom and took Jared Goff, and the Eagles did 2 moves to get up there and get Carson Wentz. So that's what you're looking at. I'm with you totally. Coach is able to play it on both sides.
He can.
But if you're going to take care of that young quarterback, is it a Mekhi Becton at left tackle out of Louisville, right? Is it one of the tackles we talked about already? Building that offensive line and fortifying, and I think left tackle is a key spot now. We all admire Nate Solder. but I do think that competition is going to have to be there, or maybe we're turning the page on that one. They've got to get someone there because, look, Daniel Jones is going to adjust. He's going to hold on to the ball better. He's going to adjust to the speed of the game better, but he can't be fleeing all the time, and that's what you want to
Charles,
avoid.
let me ask you this. I happen to be a Herbert fan of the quarterbacks myself. All
Great.
right?
Have you met the kid yet?
Yeah, I saw him earlier.
Isn't he a great kid?
I think he's terrific.
He's a terrific
and I
kid.
love his tape.
Oh.
So he's my favorite quarterback in this class. But the question becomes, if you are going to deal out of 4, then there have to be teams who concretely believe that one of these quarterbacks, whether Tua coming off his medical, or Herbert, who some people don't like as much as I do, are going to be worth the 4th overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
I see it that if Tua's medical is there, there's going to be a lot of deals coming, right? Miami, if they are as fixated as we've been led to believe, and who knows if they are or not. I noticed that they've already put out there that, hey, Miami may be interested in Justin Herbert ahead of Tua, which tells me more that they really like Tua because they're trying their best to get it out there so that we're not locked in on it. But remember, the Bears went from 3 to 2 to get Trubisky just to make sure they got him.
Yep.
I don't think Miami can sit at 5 and think that Tua just falls to them.
Well,
I
the
think
Jets
they're going
moved
to have
up
to
for
make a
Donald,
move.
too.
You have to. I think today you have to make a move because the hint is out there too much that it's going to go. It's like Coach Gettleman. How many times has he fielded that question of, or even the statement, well, you could have waited. You could have got Josh Allen and then gone ahead and gotten Daniel Jones. He's like, you guys don't know what I know. Right? I'm sitting there, and look, if Daniel Jones still sitting out there, he comes back, well, I can't get him now because someone took him. Now, Josh Allen would have been a great
It only takes
pick,
one.
But it only takes one. So that's why I think that there's movement there. I think that Herbert is in play. I really do. I think people are going to like – but I think there are people like you who like him a lot.
Yeah.
And there's no injury history.
I know.
And, by the way, did you see what he weighed in this one?
I did not.
Okay, so at the Senior Bowl, he weighed 227. And I've known the young man for a little while. We're not bosom buddies or anything, but I think he knows me enough that we could joke and talk a little bit. I was like, dude, 227? What's wrong with you?
People thought that was low, right?
I think it's light.
Yeah,
Okay?
I would agree.
And he told me that he weighed 224 for the Rose Bowl. And I said, what? You trying to be a track star or something? What is going on here? He said, no, it was a plan. I just wanted to be lighter and whatever. Remember, in the Rose Bowl, he ran around like crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay? And
He
he did. And he did a really nice job.
Sure.
I said, why didn't you run like that during the season? He said, because we really didn't have a backup. And they didn't want me running the football. So they turned it loose in the Rose Bowl. He weighed 236 this week.
Did he really?
Because I told him. All right, look at me. I'm trying. Oh, I told him. No, but I gave him my opinion, and my opinion is, dude, this league is a hitter's league.
Oh, yeah.
You better have some body armor, okay? I don't see what the difference is between you being 227 and 240, what that's going to do to your 40 time. It's not going to do anything. You need to be thicker. That was just me. And he's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And I saw him today, and I said, dude, what'd you weigh in? He said, 236. I went, you listened to me. He goes, yeah, I'll give you credit. but I did ask him, I said, do you have a plan for next year? And he said, yeah, I think I want to be a little bit bigger than this.
Okay.
So I think you're going to get 6'5", 6'6", 240 Justin Herbert, which I think is the ideal Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I'd be with you on that.
Charles, you mentioned Tristan Wirfs. You think he might be a guy, guessing because of arm length and move inside, really good athlete.
Not just arm length, but just stoutness. I mean, you see him? I mean, dude's a redwood, okay? And when you watch him, he plays the right side. He will down block, and it's like watching a bowling ball in pins. Bam, bam, bam. And, people are bumping into each other and people are moving. So I think he's a candidate like Brandon Sheriff coming out of Iowa, who was a left tackle, but he's been a Pro Bowl guard. I think that Wirfs is the same type of player.
Separate those other three tackles for me. Thomas from Wills to Becton. Who do you like the best, and what's different about these guys? Is it simply experience, what they're good at, how raw they are? Just kind of break those three guys down, how they're different for me.
I think Becton is the best combination of everything.
I mean, he's 3'6",
He is a
370.
whole lot of man.
It's a condominium.
He really is. And it's like, I remember a coach telling me a long time ago, I was like, yeah, but coach, I don't know if he can move. He said, yeah, but you got to go around him to get to the quarterback.
Same thing with Orlando Brown. He was so massive, he didn't have to move.
Listen, I know we're the Giants and all, but remember Winston Hill in our youth.
Oh, sure.
Right? He just got into the Hall of Fame.
And he deserved to be.
He deserved to be. Remember trying to get around Winston Hill?
Impossible.
See, I'm going to throw one. You're too young for
Yeah,
this.
Winston Hill,
All right?
I don't have.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I
You're
don't.
too young.
okay.
I don't have Winston Hill.
Sherman Plunkett. Remember Sherman
Oh,
Plunkett?
my God.
A
Yes.
monster.
Yes.
Now you got to understand, nowadays we're used to 330, 340, right? That's kind of part of the game. Sherman Plunkett was like 360 back in the 1960s. And
Was
people
he
didn't know
really?
what to do with.
Yes.
He was a monster.
Wow.
That's what we're talking
Okay,
about.
I got you.
But that Becton is that, and he can get to the second level and move people, I think. I think Andrew Thomas is probably the best dancer at left tackle.
Really, best
a
feet.
good player. I think maybe he's got the best feet out of the three. And Willis is just a big, strong, thick, physical guy. But I think he can survive on either side.
Final one real quick from me. You've got Okudah, who
Yep.
some people think is the best all-around corner coming out in maybe a decade. And then you got a guy like Simmons, who may be the most versatile, most talented package that we've seen in a long time. So if you were to go best player available, how would you rate those two?
I like Okudah a little bit better for this reason. I think that Greg Williams was onto something a couple of years ago, that you better have those stout corners now because people get rid of the ball so fast. Yeah, we still want to get home. We still want gut pressure. We still want all that. But quarterbacks are getting rid of it so fast. Can you cover? Can you have that guy that covers? And with Simmons, I think he's going to be a great player. I'll be interested in whoever drafts him, what is your plan initially for him? Because he's played everywhere at Clemson, but he did that over a 3-year span. Okay, you keep adding to your arsenal. How many rookies have we gone up and said, well, on the whiteboard, he does this, and he does this, and he does this, and he does this, and we can use him here, we can use him here. And then by the middle of the third preseason game, the kid is
Paralysis by analysis.
right. I don't know
right?
what to do.
He's all over the place.
I think
You have to know what you're going to do with him before you
the good
pick him.
teams will know what they will want
Yeah.
to do early, and then they'll add to his plate as he gets more and more comfortable. That's what I think will happen with him. But I think he's more of a will linebacker than he is a safety.
Yeah.
You can move him all over the place, but I don't know that he is your elite pass rusher.
Right.
So that makes
I
that
agree.
part a little bit different. I think that kid from LSU, Chasen, is an elite pass rusher.
Hey Giants fans, Saquon Barkley here. You want to see more videos? Subscribe below.